Satya Dharma Reflection on May 16, 2022. One must learn how to bless, otherwise we'll be stuck with being narrow, being limited. Everything is awakened, everything is brightened. That which has nothing to do with the non-attachments to be shared simultaneously, powerfully. Go on to proceed through that which has nothing to do with the uninvolved itself. Share it in the way that is fully. The important thing is that how to dwell within concentration or samadhi. This is not about the attempt to dwell. Let's extinct this kind of creation of cycle of becoming. Just disregard. Disregard even from the disregard itself. Definitely it will purify the attempt to dwell all by itself. There is no need to ask what is there to be used to remain with the mind. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, purify all the fixation right away. Then it will not become realm of existence. This will be through the purification of the emptiness for samsara. Then one will not feel that how can one remain. Once there is the proceeding of the blessing, there will be power, and the power will be more and more regarding the blessing itself. But one has to know what is to be used for blessing. If using the mind, then there will be no more power. There will be a lot more of Vedana and hindrances instead. That which is not about anything, not even the non-attachment itself. Neither is it about no itself. That is called helping through unwinding and releasing is the blessing. This will be more power and more power. The power from the Mahabarami is resulted from the blessing itself. But the practicing for attainment is actually the taking on of karma, the taking on of Vedana totally. That is the result of fixation. Once there is a fixation to anything, there is the taking on, and that has the period of time in taking on. Therefore, during the time of practicing, is actually the taking on, is not considered as power. It's actually the taking on of suffering. Power comes from blessing, from giving ending, from cutting deluded knowing, helping through unwinding and releasing, purify through the extinction and the emptiness. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself is helping through unwinding and releasing. This is the power of the blessing. It's the power of the enlightenment actually. Power of cutting deluded knowing. because it continues in such a way of cutting through the knowing. In one Buddha era, there is the power of cutting through continuously. That's why it can be formed up as one Buddha era. The cutting through has been continued from the past until there are a lot more power of cutting the knowing. This is not in the same way of the taking on of Vedana in the forms of practicing for attainment, because the grasping itself is the samudaya, is the cause of suffering itself, is the suffering in itself. Whenever there is practicing for attainment, there is always suffering and the causes of suffering. This is power is from helping to cut through the knowing, helping through ending. It's not about something else by accumulation of practicing for attainment. That's why there's a lot of power to cut through the knowing. And this is according to the blessing itself. The time of practicing for attainment, it results in always entering and leaving the state of practicing. However, the power to help cut through from the Buddha, through uninvolved, even within the unvolved itself, no is not even know itself, disregard even from the disregard itself. This is the conclusion to help. It has been the power that continues onwards to cut through the knowing, which is the enlightenment in itself. So there is no doubt what's the power from cutting of the Buddha. It's not from the practicing for attainment, because that is gonna be the practice which give result in taking on the Vedana and hindrances itself. Without joining the blessing of the Buddhas, there will be no power for cutting through. There is only grasping, always grasping for anything, even stillness or indifference. Once there is the enable to cut through, there will be the enable to discard the unwinding itself. The power of the enlightenment will be used for helping blessing samsara onwards. And the next round in the next Buddha era, the power will be adding more, cut through furthermore, cut through as of the enlightenment itself. The practicing for attainment cannot be counted. That is the creation of karma and the result of karma only. It's not cutting the knowing, it's not the power of enlightenment. In order to help all beings to release from the attachment, that is helping to cut through the knowing for them. This is how to bless, helping through unwinding and releasing from all the fixation, all the clinging. That is giving the power of the enlightenment for all beings, for samsara. And it becomes the bounce back of this power. One will be more fluent in cutting through the knowing. It's going to be in such a way in the next Buddha era onwards.
กำไรกับแสนกับอย่าไปพูดถึงตรงนั้นมันเลื่อนลอย
There is no need to talk about
เราพูดถึงเนื้อหา
eons of
การตรัส
times.
รู้ช่วยสรรพสัตว์ตรงๆ
This is direct sharing enlightenment for all beings. This is the perfection of the Buddhas
บาร
itself,
มีองค์มหาบารมี
the perfection of the Mahabarami, the great
มี
perfection
การเวลา
without time,
ท่านก็ไม่ได้นิพพานไปไหน
because the Buddhas are not left
แต่ยังเป็น
through
ประธาน
Nibbana
อยู่
anywhere
ยังเป็นประธาน
else.
ในการตรัสรู้
They
ช่วย
are
สังวร
still
อยู่
the president to help giving the enlightenment for samsara. But the beings thinking that they left through
ขึ้น
Nibbana.
ก็ปรากฏขึ้นไม่ปรากฏก็ไม่ปรากฏ
Actually, whenever time they formed up an anupap or the body mind,
ที่
it
เรียก
will
ว่าเป็น
appear.
สัดส่วนของท่านเป็นภาคส่วนนั่นเองเยอะแยะมากมายนั่นก็คือท่านอยู่แล้ว
However, the avatars of the
นิพพานแล้ว
Buddhas
ไปไหน
still remained
นั่นก็
within
ท่าน
the
นู่นก็
samsara.
ท่านนู่นก็ท่าน
Here
นู่น
and
ก็ท่าน
there is just the avatar of the Buddhas that has been formed up
ส่วนนี้เอาไว้ในสังสารวัฏ
within the
ตัว
samsara.
แทนก็คือท่านอยู่แล้ว
They are like the representatives of the Buddhas, which is them, the Buddhas themselves.
หรือที่เรียกว่าหน่อเนื้อ
They are the embodiments or the Buddha seeds,
และไหนจะพุทธสาวกต่อพุทธสาวก
including the Buddha followers
ตรัสรู้
from one
ต่าง
to the next, following to cut
ๆ
through
เป็น
to
ดอก
the
เป็นผล
knowing,
ไปเรื่อย
be enlightened onwards,
ไปไหน
like the fruits. They don't go
ยัง
anywhere
เป็นประ
else.
ธานท่ามกลางสังสารวัฏ
Still, the Buddha still be the president amidst samsara.
สรุปเรื่องบารมีในการโปรดดี
Let's
ๆ
conclude
สั่งสมให้มันได้ขนาด
regarding the perfection.
ช่วงที่สั่งสม
Well, to conclude it, it's not about accumulating the perfection. That is
โลภะทิฏฐิ
wrong viewpoint,
ช่วงนี้สั่งสมเอามันเป็นช่วงของโมหะทิฏฐิ
deluded viewpoints regarding accumulation of perfection
นั่นเลย
or parami,
จะเอา
thinking to gain, thinking to grasp, to grab.
ดังนั้นเมื่อมันเจือปนด้วย
Once
บารมีแบบนั้น
it's mixed with
เอาบารมี
such a perfection
มันจะมาขัดแย้งกัน
by ways of grasping, it will be the obstacle for blessing because the suffering will be mixed within the blessing itself.
วิบากการเสวยเวร
They have to take on the coming difficulties from the grasping.
ก็แต่ละครั้งมันก็เวทนาอยู่แล้ว
Because anytime there is the clinging, the Vedana is right there, suffering is right
แวะ
there.
เข้าไปเกาะแวะเข้าไปทุบอยู่เรื่อย
Always
ๆแวะเข้าไปแคบอยู่เรื่อยๆแวะเข้าไปขัด
dropping
อยู่เรื่อยๆ
to be narrow, to be uptight, to be suffer.
และสังสารวัฏเองก็ชอบไปจับ
And samsara likes to grab it. They like to
เพราะว่า
grasp
มันเชื่อเดียวกัน
because it has the same seed, the seed of
จับมัน
grasping,
เลย
always clinging, always grabbing.
พลาดเลย
That is a mistake. It
เอา
creates
ไม่ทำไม่เอา
uptightness.
เอง
No grasping, even the non-grasping itself. Proceed onwards through the essence of uninvolved with the non-attachments for a lengthy of time. Proceed on in the way without choosing anything whatsoever, uninvolved with disregarding for a lengthy time. Proceed on. This will purify the grasping for mindfulness concentration, knowing through seeing. All the dwelling within seeing and knowing will be purified, uninvolved with non-attachments for all and everything. Share this essence onwards. Everything is not to be grasped. Don't overlay the grasping mind on top of anything whatsoever, whether it is inside or outside. Don't overlay through the grasping mind. uninvolved with the non-attachment for a lengthy of time, simultaneously, internally and externally, naturally there will be purification for the cycle of becoming. This is not about accumulating the goodness, because that is the form of karma. All the goodness towards one another is the form of karma that pay back towards one another. No matter how goodness that is created by oneself, it has nothing to do with it. The essence is to help through unwinding and releasing, through ending the payback of each other is to compensate the good karma towards one another, back and forth, back and forth. This is the mechanism of karma and karmic retributions, or the doing good or doing bad. This has nothing to do with the essence at all, even a tiny bit. It's the form of karmic difficulties that compensate among one another back and forth, doing good, doing bad for one another. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, simultaneously with everything. Just like everything is meant for the blessing, which is already done when you use the essence. Talking about the teaching in the past, the power of fixation creates stickiness collectively. This is like pulling one another downward. What we are linking to each Buddhas or the Mahabharami in each Buddha era is subjected to the great blessed fortune, because there will be a conclusion towards ending for everything. Just like the practicing or doing good, doing bad to one another is all about karma. The Mahabharami are like the light that sparkle the blessing throughout all beings. Otherwise, there will always be Vedana dominated onwards. Because talking about the teaching, Dharma teaching is the habit of grasping that it has been passed on, because there is no giving. It's just the habit of always holding, always grasping. When it's that much, it's heavy, the burden is there. However, we have to penetrate through to help, like guiding the way. Disregard again, disregard well, uninvolved well, uninvolved even within the uninvolvement itself, well with it. Purify again, shift again. If circumstances can be shifted, then we will have collective power to join for purification of the extinction, to help one another. What is there to be grasped for being comfortable or relaxed? Relaxing is not relaxing. What is there to be making relaxing? What is it within relaxation? Huh? What is there within stillness and indifference? What is there to be made stillness? Significance and meanings in stillness and indifference is not it. Open up fully, all the same, with the essence. If not, there will be no purification towards the hidden things. There will be no purification for the body and mind. So open up fully through the essence of that which has nothing to do with the non-attachment, simultaneously with everything for a lengthy time. For a lengthy time, it's not doesn't mean that being still for a lengthy time. Instead, use the essence of uninvolved with the non-attachment towards all things for a lengthy of time. Because to be in the stillness for a lengthy time is going to be narrowed down further and further. Simultaneously with all things, share the essence of that which has nothing to do with disregarding for a lengthy time. Nothing within the uninvolved itself for a lengthy time, simultaneously with awakening and brightening. That is the power of breaking through, of penetrating through. This is not about proceeding with something else. Instead, it is that which has nothing to do with non-attachment to be proceeded. Then it will be purification of the extinction. The form up of awakening and brightening is already the power that is shared in the surroundings. However, share the essence of that which has nothing to do with the non-attachment to be shared for a lengthy time. This will be the purification of the extinction for a lengthy of time. Just like the awakening is the medium, is an ambassador, the brightening is an ambassador for samsara. The essence of the blessing through that which has nothing to do with non-attachment will be purifying through the extinction for a lengthy of time. The awakening is just the anupap that's linking with samsara. The brightening that is here is just the anupap that is linking with samsara. Is the ambassador. Ambassador of what? Where is the essence, child? That which has nothing to do with disregarding or not, to be shared all the same. This is the essence of the purification of the extinction. It's right here at this point. that which has nothing to do with the non-attachment to be shared continuously. This will not be only about extinction for the sake of itself. Open up fully. Don't be stuck with just sense organs or sense perceptions. What is it that is going to unlock this kind of limitations? That which has nothing to do with the non-attachment to be shared more often and for a lengthy of time, and to be fully, constantly. It will purify all the limitations to a certain extent. Automatically, the sense organs and sense perceptions will not be limited with just themselves. It will turn into boundlessness all by itself. The boundlessness is there because there is no karmic difficulties within the delusive attachment. It purifies the karmic difficulties in regards to the delusive attachment. There is no boundaries because there is no karmic difficulties of the delusive attachment. Therefore, that which has nothing to do with the non-attachment has to be given fully for all and everything simultaneously. It will purify the karmic difficulties of the delusive attachment, which is the limitation to a certain extent. Then there will be no more limitations to the internal or the external, or to just disregarding. That's why again and again share the essence of that which has nothing to do with the non-attachments, all the same to everything. Share this essence for a lengthy of time, simultaneously with all things. Then the non-attachment will not be limited to itself. The ending will not be limited to itself. The extinction will not be limited to just itself. It will turn into helping through extinction, helping through ending, helping through the enlightenment, helping through cutting deluded knowing. The cutting will not be just cutting. It will turn into helping through cutting simultaneously. The ending will not be just ending and that's it. It will turn into the great compassion to help through ending altogether. Uninvolved with disregarding simultaneously and fully. Uninvolved with disregarding itself, simultaneously with the awakening and brightening of all the existing senses or sense organs, the sense organs of the awakening, of the brightening, the sense organs of the shining is a very good ambassador for samsara. The brightness is for purifying through the emptiness and extinction, not the brightness or the aura that has advertisement in itself. This is not the brightness for the sake of itself. Uninvolved with the non-attachment has nothing to do with the brightness. There is no fixation to the brightening or the awakening as it is. That is called the brightness that blesses samsara, that purifies samsara. This brightness is not just limited in itself, it's the brightness that purifies. That which has nothing to do within the uninvolved itself, uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself, to be shared all the same to everything simultaneously. Disregarding is not disregarding itself. Share this essence simultaneously to all and everything. This is just not normal brightness. It's actually the brightness for blessing. that purifies
เว
samsara.
ลาสว่างในการล้างความมืดล้างความหลงของสังสารวัฏโดยตรง
It purifies the darkness directly.
ไม่ใช่สว่างแค่สว่าง
This is not the brightness for the sake of the brightness itself.
ไม่ใช่นิพพานแค่นิพพานโลก
This is not nibbana for the sake of nibbana. This is not about extinction for the sake of itself. It is actually to help samsara through the extinction. Nibbana purifying samsara directly. It is not nibbana and that's it. Disregard even from the disregard itself simultaneously for everything all the same. This is not just about disregarding for the sake of itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself. This is the disregard that doesn't grasp itself. Regarding the anupāp, it will purify through the extinction and the emptiness altogether for everything. Uninvolved with the disregarding fully, so that there is no discreetly taking on the Vedana within stillness or indifference in that narrowness. When it's fully, it's simultaneously shared towards the awakening and brightening through the sense organs and sense perceptions. Everything is awakened, everything is brightened simultaneously with the sense organs and sense perceptions, inside and outside simultaneously. Awaken out, brighten out simultaneously. That which has nothing to do with non-attachment. This is the Samabat and Nirodha that proceed simultaneously. The Samabat is the power, Nirodha is the essence of the extinction purely. This will proceed on altogether. This is helping through purification of the extinction. Therefore, that which has nothing to do with disregarding is already the conclusion of Nirodha, but it has to proceed together with the awakening and the brightening of the sense organs and sense perceptions. This is the Samabat and the blessing that is joining as one. Otherwise, there will be no power. Without awakening and brightening, there is no power to help samsara. Therefore, internal or external awakened, brightened simultaneously. Simultaneously with that which has nothing to do with non-attachment, with the essence. That which has nothing to do with disregarding, simultaneously proceeding through the awakening and the brightening. This is the Samabat of Nirod as a kind of blessing. The extinction that is there just awaken out and brighten out simultaneously with everything. This will turn into Nirodha of the blessing immediately. This is the extinction as blessing, emptiness as blessing, Nibbana as blessing, Nirodha as blessing, Nirod and Nibbana in a kind of blessing. share the essence of that which has nothing to do with the non-attachment. Throughout, the power of the blessing will be balanced for the internal and the external automatically. It will purify the delusion to be specific, to bless specifically. This is from the karmic habits of the delusive attachment to be specific and being familiar with being specific. That is called karmic habit of the delusive attachment. This will purify all the same towards the karmic habit of the delusive attachment to be specific. It will purify for samsara through the extinction and the emptiness throughout in balance, not to be specific with just body, mind, eye, ears, nose, tongue, not being specific with just sound, smell, taste, touches, and shapes. It will purify automatically for specificity. Share the essence of that which has nothing to do with the non-attachment. It will automatically purify the delusion to be specific. Karmic habit of being deludedly specific within sound, smell, taste, touches, and shapes, within all things, is a lot there. Therefore, the uninvolved with disregarding has to be given fully, absolutely, then it will purify for the past and the new delusive attachments. This is the karmic habits of the delusive attachments. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, all the same to everything. Uninvolved with disregarding to be shared, all the same with everything. Already said, it's not about anything in being the same. And then share the essence of power of everything is awakened, everything is brightened, well with it. Share the essence of power of samabhat, of awakening. Everything is awakened. The samabhat of penetrating through, everything is brightened out. Shift the samabhat into sunyata for everything. This is not only about awakening within awakening. This is being specific, is the karmic habits that overlay in the awakening. This is not sufficient to bless samsara. It has to be everything is awakened, everything is brightened. Proceeding in a way without grasping, actually. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself, child. Disregard even from the disregard itself. This is proceeding without grasping, awakening without grasping it, brightening without grasping it. Uninvolved with disregarding simultaneously with awakening and brightening, actually. Then it will automatically purify the overlaying of grasping mind. Totally purified. The opening of eyes and ears and all senses will not be stuck right there. Uninvolved with the non-attachment, all the same with everything, it will be beyond the opening of the sense organs. It will turn into boundlessness, purifying through all the opening of all senses. Uninvolved with the non-attachment in a way of opening widely, well with it. This will purify all that slowness, all the falling behind, which is the sinking within stillness and indifference. This is the karmic habits of the delusive attachment that drag oneself behind. It will fade oneself to fall into realm of existence, which is deepening onwards, downwards. This is dragging on. So open up the sense organs fully through the essence of uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself simultaneously. Uninvolved with disregarding or not, all the same with everything. Simultaneously with the full opening of the sense organs and sense perceptions. Don't use stillness and indifference to block it or to dominate it. Otherwise, it will bounce back the blockade itself. This will become realm of existence for a lengthy of time. This is the special karmic payback zone, which is going to be stuck in itself for a lengthy of time. It's derived from being deludedly specific, within stillness extremely, within indifference extremely. What is there within the indifference and in the stillness? What is there in it? Being obsessed to give significance and meanings, it will prolong as the seed, which is the samudaya itself. Where is the karmic payback zone? It's from extreme maintaining, extreme focusing, extreme concentration. This is called extreme delusive attachment actually. That's why it turned into the special karmic payback zone, specifically with certain states. Always stagnated and being sticky in such states. That is the lengthy payback within such a realm of existence, no matter how 10,000 of years or 100,000 of years in such a realm, within such extreme specific states of mind. Uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself, well with it. Purify the delusion to be specific altogether. Keep on opening the sense organs in the way without grasping it. Opening in the way without retaining it. This is the sense organs that is anicca and anatta who tell you to sustain them. This is the anicca and anatta. This is by one's own titi, by one's own desire and delusion and delusive attachment. What is there to be sustained? The mind is anicca and anatta. This is by one's own titi, thinking on one's own, by one's own greed because of the grasping mind. Even the emptiness is not itself. Even the anatta is not itself. Even the emptiness is not itself. What is there to sustain anything? Even disregard is not itself. Even the non-attachment is not itself. What is there to sustain anything? Deludedly maintaining towards that which is not anything, even itself. This is by one's own titi, by one's own greed, by one's own desire, by one's own delusion to grasp. Even non-grasping doesn't grasp itself. This is like ongoing to grasp that which is not about grasping. Therefore, is the deludedly grasping all by oneself, deludedly sustaining all by oneself, by one's own tithi, by one's own thoughts. This is having no cutting deluded knowing within itself, no enlightenment in itself, being deluded to fixate and to cling all by oneself. There is no cutting deluded knowing in itself, no enlightenment in itself. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Let's make a conclusion towards cutting deluded knowing all by itself, cut through within itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself. Make a conclusion towards the essence of cutting within the cutting itself, cut through the cutter itself. Let's get in the mode of the Arahant. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. Shift towards the mode of cutting within the cutting itself. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, all the same. This is already shifting towards the blessing. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, turning into the purification of the extinction to help one another. Conclusion towards ending, cutting through to help one another. This is the mode of the blessing. This is the Arahant's Bodhisattvas. The Bodhisattvas are already Bodhisattvas who are helping to give ending for all beings. Is this not just to raise the beings, to lead the beings to cross the fields, to lead the beings to eat? Let's help the beings to end, not just the leader of the beings, not just being the leader of all beings. This is not just become a leader of a flock of beings. Let's help end for one another, well with it. Disregard, even from the disregard itself, all the same. Within our minds, well with it. That which has nothing to do with our minds, which is all and everything. That which has nothing to do with the non-attachment, it has to be shared for a lengthy of time, child. Simultaneously with all and everything, help through ending for one another, well with it. This is not to help to be infatuated, to know, to help one another to know or to be restless, help end for one another well. This is not to help one another to add more of knowing. Disregard even from the disregard itself. This is not about adding more of the mental formation towards one another. Let's have more power. Awaken out, brighten out. All things, all elements awakened. Everything is brightened right away. Everything is awakened right away. Let there be power for blessing. Let's share the power of the blessing all together. Everything is awakened. Everything is awakened. Go ahead, proceed on. If you are not awakened, let's hit you by a car. Or in other words, awaken in a way with panicking. You must have to confront such a way. Huh? When you're sitting like sinking in yourself like this, awakened. Everything is awakened. No gain, no lose. Huh? All the delusion of gaining and losing will cry out. It will appear. This is the delusion, desire, and delusive attachment that is crying out because the stillness is covering it up. It's hidden within the stillness. Awaken out to purify it. Awaken in a way without giving meaning to it. It's hidden there because it's gonna come out to cry, to shout out, blaming others, this and that, not blaming oneself, still having oneself as a blame. This is discrete, the discrete of desire, delusion, and delusive attachment and greed, hiding within stillness and indifference. There is no awakening, no brightening, not clear, not unwinding that discards itself, not releasing out. This will make oneself like to. This is self-delusion within one's own titi, fixated to one's own titi. This is the pitfall within itself, all the delusion to fixate and to cling is the pitfall within itself because it will shout out afterwards, blaming on others. It never blame on the blaming itself. Where is this blaming from? It's because of a lot of delusion, a lot of delusive attachments, being deluded to be drowned, to sink in. being obsessed to give significance and meanings until it's blaming itself and blaming others, wherewith everything is awakened, everything is brightened, giving up all the sinking state of mind, giving up to be specific within stillness or indifference. This is deceiving. Is there anything within anicca as stillness or indifference? Everything is anicca, everything is anatta. Whether it is so-called mind or not, state of mind or not, is all the same. It's anicca and anatta in itself. To deludedly oppressing within stillness and indifference, this is by the delusive attachments. Where is the stillness coming from? Where is the indifference coming from? It is actually coming from the delusive attachments that added within the mind, within states of mind. Within the anicca, there is stillness. Actually, it is always shifting and changing. Even disregarding is not itself. So don't use disregarding as stillness or indifference. Definitely not. Otherwise, it will turn into not true disregarding. True disregarding is not about anything within itself. Again and again you are told. True disregarding, true non-attachment is not about anything in itself. Share this essence throughout, all the same, so that the Tithi will not create mindfulness, equanimity or anything from disregarding, not to make something out of nothingness. Why creating Dharma, which doesn't mean anything to create Dharma in this way and that way. This is the delusive attachment overlaying Dharma. Anatta Dharma is meaningless in itself. But Dharma has been integrated as this type of Dharma or that type of Dharma. What is this? This is the delusive attachment and delusion that integrates within Dharma until it becomes realm within Dharma, realms of Dharma, realm of existence within Dharma. Use that which is not stillness to create stillness. Use that which is not indifference to create indifference. This is the special karmic payback zone. Disregard even from the disregard itself. Disregard that is not relevant to itself. This will not be wrong to anicca and anatta. However, there is fixation to anicca and anatta is wrong to the nature of anicca and anatta. Fixated towards that which is not a fixation is wrong. What's the result? Is the suffering in itself. That is automatic. No one has to punish oneself as such. No God punishing oneself as such. It is by one's own cause. That's why the suffering is there as a result. This is by one's own fixation. Non-attached even to the non-attachment itself, so that it will purify the karmic habits of delusion to fixate, to cling specifically. Even stillness is not stillness itself. So what is there to cling to? Significance and meanings when given to stillness, it will create a lengthy time within realm of existence. Nothing is within the non-attachment itself. Uninvolved with the non-attachments, all the same, the non-attachment is considered as good already, but give no significance within goodness. It's beyond goodness. Disregard is already considered as good, but that which is uninvolved with disregard is beyond disregarding. This is the boundlessness in itself. This is the purification of the emptiness in itself. There is no need to sue anyone, to look for court anywhere. By oneself, cut through within itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself, all the same with everything. There is no need to search for any court to sue, because they are themselves, the court themselves already worse situation. So that you will not become someone who having favor of suing. Learn to cut through disregard even from the disregard itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself throughout the whole samsara, throughout all realms of existence, so that there will be no discrimination, no differentiations. It will be balanced by the essence of the cutting the knowing, or cutting within itself. This will be balanced for all. Disregard even from the disregard itself, all the same. This indicates that it's not about grasping. It's not about grasping the disregarding for oneself, not for the sake of oneself. This is helping through the purification of extinction and emptiness, helping through ending, all the same. Disregard even from the disregard itself is the power of the enlightenment, is the power to help through ending, is to be shared all the same simultaneously. In such a way is the Ariya Bodhisattva, Arahant Bodhisattva. Not to aim and determine only for grasping. Grasping for ending, grasping for extinction, grasping for emptiness. This is not in such a way with determination. This is the karmic difficulties of the delusive attachments, only grasping. Share the essence all the same, so that it will be truly purifying internally and externally. Uninvolved with the disregarding fully, because the seed of grasping still, the heaviness that still pull one down. So uninvolved with disregarding all the same, wear with it. That is disregarding that doesn't grasp itself. The emptiness is not about anything in itself. The extinction that is not about anything in itself, it is true extinction. True extinction is not about anything in itself. Significance and meanings in the extinction. How can there be extinction? That is the samudaya that overlays. This will mislead to think that the stillness is the extinction. Stillness is not extinction, huh? It's called sleeping in Dharma. Significance and meanings in stillness, in indifference and Dharma is not extinction. It's called sleeping within Dharma. Still, significance and meanings in the state of mind within Dharma. The word sleeping is actually the delusion of itself. Sleeping in the Satya Dharma term is actually the delusion. This is not in the form of sleep, in the sitting, in the lying down position. This is delusion. Infatuation is the Satya Dharma term. All that sinking in stillness is not the extinction, but is mistaken as the extinction. Actually, is the delusion. Sleeping, delusion itself. Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. What is there to be made still and indifferent? Uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. No is not even no itself. What is there to make still or not still, indifferent or not indifferent? No is not even the no itself. Uninvolved even the uninvolvement itself. Disregard even from the disregard itself. The disregard is not about anything within itself. Share it simultaneously all the same.
ได้ไม่มัวหลงนิ่งอยู่สิลูก
This will not make one continue to be deludedly in
หล
stillness.
งนิ่งหลงเฉยอยู่
Uninvolved even within the unvolved itself. This will purify significance and meanings within stillness or not. Water blessing, pouring water is just a medium. Use the essence for a lengthy time, uninvolved with disregarding simultaneously with the signal that is sending.